Meanwhile, the suspension of the Executive Secretary of the National Health Insurance Scheme (NHIS), Usman Yusuf, has been extended indefinitely. Mr. Yusuf has been on 3-month suspension since the 6th of July, based on the directive of the Minister of Health, Isaac Adewale, to allow for fair and uninterrupted investigation of the various allegations levied against the NHIS boss. In a letter to the embattled NHIS chief, Mr. Adewale indicated that the committee that investigated Mr. Yusuf has submitted its report. He said the report has been forwarded to President Muhammadu Buhari. Mr. Adewale said the committee found him culpable in many areas of his performance. Mr. Yusuf, a professor of pediatrics, was suspended from office due to the allegations of fraud, misappropriation, and nepotism. And away from Nigeria, the Nobel Peace Prize has been awarded to the International Campaign to Abolish Nuclear Weapons (ICAN). The Nobel Committee Chair, Brett Reyes Anderson, said it was due to the group's groundbreaking efforts to achieve a treaty prohibition of nuclear weapons. She cited the North Korea issue and called the nuclear-armed states to initiate negotiations to gradually eliminate the weapons.
The Norwegian Nobel Committee has decided to award the Nobel Peace Prize for 2017 to the International Campaign to Abolish Nuclear Weapons, ICAN. The organization is receiving the award for its work to draw attention to the catastrophic humanitarian consequences of any use of nuclear weapons and for its groundbreaking efforts to achieve a treaty-based prohibition on such weapons.
ICAN describes itself as a coalition of grassroots-run government groups in more than 100 nations. It began in Australia and was officially launched in Vienna in 2007. The group will receive $1.1 million along with a medal and a diploma at the ceremony in December. Moving over to the United States, where there are reports that President Donald Trump is planning to abandon the Iran nuclear deal shortly. If he fails to certify the accord, the U.S. Congress will decide whether to reimpose economic sanctions on Iran. Mr. Trump, whose opposition to the deal was a major part of his campaign last year, has until the 15th of October to decide. While speaking in the White House's cabinet room, Mr. Trump said the U.S. must put an end to Iran's continued aggression and nuclear ambitions.
We must not allow Iran to obtain nuclear weapons. The Iranian regime supports terrorism and exports.
The 2015 deal was designed to prevent Iran from developing a nuclear weapon. France, Germany, China, Russia, and the United Kingdom are also partners in the deal. In the meantime, tropical storm Nate has killed at least 22 people in Costa Rica, Nicaragua, and Honduras as it moves north towards the United States. A state of emergency has been declared in the Central American nations, where more than 20 people are missing. It has caused heavy rains, landslides, and floods which are blocking roads, destroying bridges, and damaging houses. In Costa Rica, nearly 400,000 people are without running water and thousands are sleeping in shelters. But the storm caused extensive damage to infrastructure in Nicaragua. Forecasters say the storm will gain strength and become a Category 1 hurricane before it makes landfall on the southern coast of the United States on Sunday. A state of emergency was declared in 29 Florida counties and in New Orleans in Louisiana. The mayor of the city, Mitch Landrieu, told people will leave on low-lying grounds to evacuate.
Given these threats, I have declared a state of emergency for the city of New Orleans. While still uncertain, the latest forecast shows Nate strengthening and producing heavy winds and above-average rainfall in the area late Saturday through Sunday. Models are going to change as this event draws closer. Current forecasts indicate 3 to 6 inches of rain over the duration of the system, which is going to be 36 to 48 hours, and potential double that.
Oil companies operating in the Gulf of Mexico say they are evacuating staff from platforms which lie along the predicted path of the storm. And turning to Russia, At least 19 people have been killed when a train hit a bus on a crossing in the region of Vladimir. Reports say the driver may have stalled the engine after ignoring a red warning signal. Authorities said the driver had tried to get the 55 passengers from Uzbekistan to leave the bus. The Russian news agency reported that some escaped passengers attempted to move the bus before the collision. It said all of those who died were on board and no train passengers were injured in the incident. The bus and the two drivers on board were reportedly from Kazakhstan. And Catalan Chief of Police Josep Trapero is appearing before a judge in Madrid on suspicion of sedition against the state. His force is accused of failing to protect Spanish National Police from protesters ahead of the 1st October independence referendum. The Catalan vote last Sunday was declared illegal under Spanish law. The Catalan parliament plans to meet on Monday despite the Spanish Constitutional Court order suspending the session. There is speculation that a session will be used to declare independence based on Sunday's disputed vote. Meanwhile, Spain's Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy will chair a cabinet meeting later to discuss the next moves in the confrontation with Catalonia.
And now for business news.
In business, the Central Bank of Nigeria has expressed concerns over the non-remittance of exports proceeds by exporting firms in the country. As a result, the Apex Bank said it was set to blacklist a number of exporters who had failed to repatriate the proceeds of their exports. The Director of Banking Supervision, CBN, Hamad Abdullahi, made this disclosure at a news briefing held after the Bankers Committee meeting at the CBN office in Lagos. Mr. Abdullahi stated that the Bankers Committee also discussed the fragile growth of 0.55% that the economy recorded in the second quarter. He said although it was a positive growth that took the country out of recession, the committee resolved to pursue a number of schemes and initiatives that would enhance economic growth. Meanwhile, Barcelona-based bank Sabadell has said it will move its legal base out of Catalonia following threats by the region's leaders to declare independence. Spain's fifth biggest bank said it would start a process today to move its legal domicile to Alicante. However, its headquarters and employees will remain in Barcelona. The board of CaixaBank will also meet today to consider a similar move. Caixa is Spain's third largest bank and accounts for about half of Catalonia's banking sector. The European Union has said it will not recognize an independent Catalonia, which would mean the region would not be subject to EU rules of protection.
This is Sportline.
Alright, welcome to sport. Ahead of tomorrow's crucial World Cup qualifier against Zambia in Uyo, Super Eagles coach Gernot Rohr says he remains confident that Nigeria will play in Russia. Nigeria hosts Zambia in their penultimate World Cup qualifier, knowing that victory would secure its sixth finals appearance since first qualifying in 1994. And Rohr has said his players are aware of the importance of the game.
So everybody is aware of the situation. We know that it's in our hands now. And this situation, to be at home also, is important. When we won in Zambia, they told me Nigeria never won there. So I think the statistics is one thing, but the reality is another thing.
Meanwhile, Zambia coach Wetsin Nyerenda is also bullish that his team will revenge the 2-1 home loss to the Super Eagles in Ndola last year and go all the way to qualify for the World Cup in Russia.
We were not given any chance. People were thinking of Algeria, Nigeria or Cameroon. But here we are now, we are on a two-horse race with the mighty Super Eagles. And come Saturday, I think we are going to do what we are born to do. Not going to be an easy game, but I think with the plans that we have put in place, the output from the players, I think we are looking so much ready.
Nigeria will qualify for the World Cup if they defeat Zambia in Uyo tomorrow. In the meantime, Germany and England have booked their places in the 2018 World Cup in Russia. with their wins against Northern Ireland and Slovenia in the European qualifying zone. Germany defeated the Irish side 3-1 in Belfast to top Group C with an unassailable 27 points from 9 matches. England booked their place at next summer's World Cup thanks to a Hurricane 94th minute goal in a 1-0 win against Slovenia. The win took the Three Lions points to 23, but manager